Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. All right. Now we're down to the nitty gritty, baby. Now we're down to the nitty gritty. What's good, Chicago? Just about everybody we want out the playoffs. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening here. Who thought this would be the Monday? What is good? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. PFF has their surprise coach that they believe best fits the Chicago Bears. We got to talk about that. And that Bears really going all in here, huh? Trying to trade for Mike Tomlin. Do we like that? And should there be other names added to the list? And, of course, we got to recap the divisional round. Saw a lot of good football yesterday, some exciting football, some things that really affect the Chicago Bears directly, and we'll talk about all that more on today's episode of The Morning Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the date is 1/20/2025. It is 7:02 in the morning, and for the love of God, Chicago Bears, pick someone. Let's go. Big vibe. All right. We here. We live. Bear down. Pick right. Please, God. Pick right. It's a Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. MLK Day today. I don't know if your job lets you take the day off if you work at a bank. I know you got the day off. I don't know if you in today, but if they try to provide you a lunch and they bring the chicken, maybe look at them side-eye. But it do be good today. Hey, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Push the button. Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the page. A lot to get into on today's show. Let's get it cracking, man, because PFF putting out a very interesting article, of course, for every coach that they believe the Chicago Bears should be, or I'm sorry, not the Chicago Bears, that they believe that the NFL different spots with coaching vacancies should hire. And of course, the one I go to, the one that most interests us here over on the Windy City Breeze here in Chicago, is who they have for the Chicago Bears. And I like how they break this down. There's still one thing in there that makes me want to flip a table, because I don't get this unwavering love of our tackle situation here. But they talk about what went wrong in 2024, and they say the Bears' 2024 season was one of expectation and dysfunction. With the first overall pick, Caleb Williams, and a talented set of weapons in tow, the Bears were expecting to compete for a postseason berth. Turmoil among the coaching staff, poor situational football, and suspect trench play considered to hinder Williams' development. They also endured below average play on the defensive line and a serious decline in coverage production after a hot start. I think that checks out. That's exactly how I would break down this season. They go on to talk about some of the things that they have in place. Of course, Caleb Williams. You also, bro. This is where they get me. This is where they get me every time. This is where they get me every time. Along with Caleb Williams, their roster also includes 2 good tackles. In Braxton Jones, leading Braxton Jones. We're leading Braxton Jones. In Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright. DJ Moore and Rome Odunze would benefit from Williams' development and a better offensive play caller. The defense is armed with good secondary players in Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. This is the team that needs to improve in the trenches, simply execute in big situations more consistently. It's no way. He's got to have a family member there. Somebody has to be in that building that works or that knows Braxton personally. Because no matter what happens, it's like, all right, we listen, we know a lot of you guys sucked, but not him. The dude that was sacked with the quarterback doesn't suck. Anyway, I'm not going down that path right now. I'm not going down that path. Ryan Poles is writing these personally. Here's where it gets interesting, right? They go through, what they need to improve on in the trenches and stuff like that. And then they talk about what the best fit is. They say Caleb Williams needs to play better within structure. The best fit to get Caleb Williams to do this is Ravens OC Todd Monken, who lost last night with some great play calls. Mark Andrews. We'll talk about it. Oh, that was tough. Todd Monken has spent the past 2 years developing that exact skill with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Jackson is now one of the best pocket passers in the league. Of course, Monken also understands the value of running the football and playing stout defense. Perhaps he looks toward former opponents like ex-Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo or current Michigan play caller Wink Martindale to assist on that side of the ball. And here's what I'll say. Todd Monken, now available to be interviewed by the Chicago Bears, as a name does not concern me as much. I think that he is a good play caller. I think that this is the process you have to go through. I think that he could fit. I don't know if Todd Monken really wants to be a head coach. That's my biggest question with Todd Monken. I don't know if Todd Monken really wants to be a head coach. He kind of just goes through it and he's like, whatever. Yeah, I'll go through the process. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I won't. Thank you. But outside of that, when I look at what they credit Todd Monken with, I have to agree. I think that yesterday at times you saw a Lamar Jackson that we did not see his first few years in the NFL. Yesterday, even throughout, of course, throughout the season, but yesterday in the playoffs, you saw Lamar Jackson, who normally would have relied on his legs, relying on his arm, wanting to put the football in the air, taking deep shots, being able to complete some of those, overthrowing on an interception that absolutely was confusing. But you see a poised Lamar Jackson. Now, the difference in that situation is, and where I think PFF absolutely has this effed up, and yes, I say effed up because this is asinine, is that PFF thinks that this offensive line was a good pass blocking offensive line this season. I believe they have them ranked top 10 in pass or top 11 in pass blocking. PFF also believes that you have 2 good tackles on your team. I would say you maybe have 1. And it's because I have eyes, and I'm saying maybe have 1 because I want to say Darnell Wright is good. I want to believe that Darnell Wright is what we were sold on and that he still can take that step. And it's just because you had Matt Pryor standing next to him that he was a problem. But I also saw a lot of times this season where Darnell Wright got beat to the outside. I think that it's a lot easier. And when you look at last night's game, it's a lot easier to say play within structure when the structure is there. And for Caleb Williams, I cannot say that the structure is there. In fact, they go on to kind of not shoot themselves in the foot. They go on to kind of contradict themselves when they come out and say, hey, you've got this offensive line that looks dominant in pass pro. You've also got the tackle situation looking great. Also, you need to fix your trenches. What? It's easy to say you need to go out and find a quarterback who's going to play well within structure when structure exists. And last night you saw a quarterback like Lamar Jackson who had structure that existed. You saw a quarterback in Lamar Jackson who I'm not going to lie to you. Had so much time in the pocket and not him running around. I was jealous yesterday. There's a couple dropbacks where they're rushing 4, they're rushing 3, they're not blitzing. And I mean, just time in the pocket. I'm watching guys not hold, push guys to the ground, pancake block. Here we go, get off of them. You're not touching my quarterback. Lamar's just back there like, yo, here we go. Hold on. That likely in the end zone? Who's down there? Who's down there? Aguilar? Who's down there? I'll take a shot. Boom, tutty. It's easy to say teach a guy to play within structure when structure exists. In fact, when you grade it all out, Caleb Williams within structure was phenomenal this season. It's the few times that structure existed in front of him. It's the few times there was consistency on the offensive line. It's the few times that there were those moments where a pocket was created for the quarterback. And I think you can see now the teams that look like they're going to have a lengthy playoff run here. Look at the pocket that Josh Allen is given on the other side. Look at the pocket that Jalen Hurts is given on the other side. And you tell me that it's not possible to build an offensive line. I like Todd Monken. I like him as a name. I think he is a good OC. I think he might be a solid leader. The big concern that I do have, and maybe it's just because now he's getting kind of with the hot name, and he has been a head coach in college. So he has led in a head coaching capacity before. But Todd Monken 52, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first real cycle. And he's been in the NFL a long time. And maybe maybe in previous spots or earlier in his career before I was really paying attention to his name popping up, he did have a stint there, but I don't really remember Todd Monken being one of those names that we were dying to see as a head coach. He was Tampa Bay's OC 2016, 2017, and wide receivers coach. He was Tampa Bay's just OC in 2018. I don't remember hearing his name pop up then. Cleveland Browns in 19, coach Georgia, or was OC and quarterbacks coach at Georgia from 2020 to 2022. Don't remember his name popping up then. This is kind of the first cycle where I remember his name popping up. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Maybe he just didn't get a shot. But you know what it feels like to me? And he's 58 years old right now. You know what it feels like to me? Is Vic Fangio. That guy who you always wanted to get a shot and just never really got that look. And then you finally saw it and you were just like, ooh. Well, now I know why. Now I know why nobody gave him this shot. Now I know why nobody wanted to see that. That's terrible. Ugh. Put it back. Put it back. And he went back to DC, and he looked like a great DC this season. Although, well, no, they're still solid defense. Solid defensive moments in that game. They got cooked when it mattered. That's tough. That was a tough day yesterday, man. That was a tough day for all accounts. Emilio Brito said sign and trade Sign and trade for Trey Smith, draft left guard, second or third. Sign a center, Ryan Kelly, probably. He's the best on the market, which is not great. Right at right tackle. Give Jones, Karan another go. Or left tackle in first, easy. The biggest flaw in your assessment of easy there is Trey Smith is not going anywhere. The Chiefs have finally found an elite guard. They're not letting him leave. If they do, sure, spend whatever you have to spend to sign him. Although I guess I would throw a little bit of caution to the wind and say, if the Chiefs are getting rid of him, what do they know that we don't know? But Trey Smith ain't walking through that door. I don't think you're getting a Trey Smith here in Chicago. I don't think he's leaving Kansas City anytime soon. I think he's about to be the highest paid guard in football. What are your thoughts on Todd Monken? If you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. 174 in the building on the YouTube side. Actually, we got to do this real quick. Over 100 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat. Over 300 in the chat. 300. Hit that like button over on the YouTube side, man. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Over on the Twitter side, man. Actually, we're now over 400 in that chat. 400. Over on the Twitter side, man. Hit that retweet. I like Todd Monken. I think he's got game. I would love to see what he could do as a head coach. I think with the cycle that you have, though, with the names that are on the list, with the Joe Brady's being available, with Ben Johnson being available, with Mike McCarthy being available, if you're taking that risk, you're taking that risk on the guy who was the best at it over the past few years coaching on the offensive side. Or maybe you're taking that risk on the guy who's gone the furthest now in the playoffs in Joe Brady. I think Monken, this is the worst coaching cycle for him to start getting his name in the running for head coach. I think this is the worst coaching cycle for him to be putting his name out there for head coach, because how far down the list is he realistically for most teams? Todd Monken feels like a Jacksonville hire, doesn't he? Feels like a Jayville, or maybe even a what's another good one? Maybe I don't think he'd take the Jets. I think he'd stay. I was going to say a Jets hire. But I don't think he'd go to the Jets. A Vegas hire, Steve. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Vegas is a good name on that one. He definitely feels like a Vegas hire. Like he's going to get a shot. Saints is a great one, actually, Giovanni. Those are probably the three. Those are the three I could see him with. Those are probably the three. Saints, where he's just like, where they're like, we don't have any cap space, dog. Do what you can. He's like, all right. And he'll go down there. He'll have this elite offense. The defense will be terrible. They'll lose every game 45-48. And then he'll be back as an OC. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page, man. Got to talk about the Chicago Bears going out and trying to be all in, inquiring about Mike Tomlin Got to talk about that coming up next. But first, we're going to take a listen from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https:/aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold.
When a severe storm hits, hail and high-speed winds can cause excessive damage to your home. This can lead to blown-off shingles, broken windows, siding damage, and leaking inside. If you suspect your home has been hit with storm damage, contact CNN Construction today. We are a proud GAF Master Elite contractor offering free exterior home inspection for storm-related damages. CNN is a reputable licensed roofing and general contractor working hand-in-hand with insurance companies and homeowners every step of the way through the difficult claims and restoration process. We will meet with your insurance adjuster to discuss the damages to your property, the value of those repairs, and the scope of work needed at your home. Our skilled team has you covered and will leave your home looking brand new. Give us a call today at 844-415-ROOF or visit our website at cnroofs.com for a free exterior inspection. C&N Construction. We find the solutions, not the excuses.
Welcome back. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love, man. If you have not done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Show us some love. Glad that y'all picked us to rock with on your morning commutes, man. I don't tell y'all that enough. When we do all the hundreds in the chat, there's a reason behind all of that because it really is like to give a shout out to y'all. I don't tell y'all that enough, man. Like you could be anywhere right now. You could be on 670. You could be on 1000. You could be on WGCI. You could be on all these other stations, man. You could be your podcasting. Yeah, I mean in the morning, but y'all sitting here rocking with us, man. That's pretty dope. Shout out to Breeze Nation, man. Just got done talking about PFF surprise candidate Todd Monken. Trying to get to you and that Monken. Girl, I'm mistaken and acting a donkey. Trying to get to you and that Monken. PFF surprise candidate Todd Monken for the Chicago Bears, best fit at head coach. Now I got to talk about the fact that this Bears team is all in on finding the right head coach. Or is it for show? How are you taking this? Because we got the report over the weekend that the Chicago Bears reached out to the Pittsburgh Steelers about going after Mike Tomlin. And, hey, y'all sick of him yet? He's not winning much. He's not giving you those playoff wins you need. Maybe he just needs to go to a new spot where he can get a new voice. And I think you can take this one of two ways. One for me is that the Bears are doing their due diligence. This report came from ESPN, but that the Bears are doing their due diligence. We heard that maybe there's an interest in Tomlin getting out of there. We reached out. We wanted to see. No, the Roonies basically told him, I'll fight you. All right, you got it. Don't worry about it. Y'all sticking with him? Okay, he's still good? Okay, he's good. All right. Or, and we know the Chicago Bears do this, which I hate that this is kind of where you have to go with it. Your mind wants to go, no, they're doing things the right way. They're actually operating like a real team. They've heard that there is this interest and they're trying to flush that out. But then my brain goes, did you hear us say you should trade for Mike Tomlin? And so you reached out to try and appease the fan base to say that you want us to trade for Mike Tomlin? Now, no matter what, you did it. But the question for me is, are they operating reactionary or proactively? And the fact of the matter is, they haven't given us enough to go off of for us to give them the benefit of the doubt to say they've acted proactively. We don't see the Bears be proactive. We don't see the Bears be preemptive with problems that may arise. Remember last season, and this always happens. Remember last season? We're all sitting here praising Dan Campbell as this leader of men who praising Dan Campbell for taking the blame for a loss that was on him, saying, hey, Matt Eberflus, why don't you do that? Why is it always when we can clearly see, and yes, there's a moment for the players as well, but where we can clearly see you effed up and you did what no other coach in the NFL would do, where other coaches literally go, no, realistically speaking, if the Bears hadn't made that decision at the coaching spot, we would have been fine. That very next week, now all of a sudden you're out there going, well, that's on me. I want to take accountability there. I want to be accountable to the accountable facts. That accountability was needed in an accountable situation, and I am the accountant who has to account for the problems that are accounting. Now all of a sudden it's a hot word. It's a buzzword. It's the funniest thing ever that you've put yourself in this position where we've seen it on the field so many times that you are listening to what we're saying on the radio, listening to what we're saying on Twitter, listening to what we're saying on podcasts, on these shows. And then you go back and tell the coaches or the training staff or whoever it is, the players that are there, well, this is what people are looking for from you. So can you show us a little bit of that? What? So I'm sorry if I don't go to this Mike Tomlin report and instantly go, oh my goodness, the Chicago Bears are all in. They're looking for Mike Tomlin. They want him. And my first thought is, are they really doing this, or are they doing this because everybody on Twitter said they should definitely trade for Mike Tomlin? And I'll go to this again. I know we love Tomlin. Everyone loves Tomlin. The league loves Tomlin. The Roonies love Tomlin. Every team with a bad head coach that wants somebody who's going to set order, the standard is the standard, loves Tomlin. If you love Tomlin, sign worse PR Tomlin. Because Mike McCarthy's sitting right there and is interviewed with you. He just has worse PR and looks like he actually could knock down 6 Italian beefs. I gave you the record. I gave you the numbers. 11-11 in the playoffs. Better playoff record than Mike Tomlin. Better win percentage than Mike Tomlin. Has been to the playoffs more seasons than Mike Tomlin. His offenses have ranked better than Mike Tomlin. Teams have ranked better than Mike. Like, we got that. That's available. If that's who you want, go get him. Don't overthink it. But I can be very, very convinced on Ben Johnson after the weekend we saw in a losing effort. We got to recap these playoff games, man. We saw some really good playoff games. By the way, over 500 in the chat. Oh, hold up. Over 500 in the chat. 500. And I want to start it off with that Lions game. Because I asked this question yesterday. Has Ben Johnson cooled off for any of you? As a head coaching candidate, has Ben Johnson, right after the losing effort that we saw on Saturday, that game was, they took on the Washington Commanders, who I told you guys, listen, you have to be real. We can sit here and talk about one play. We can sit here and talk about one moment. They gave up 45 points. This is the NFL. This is the best of the best. Jaden Daniels came in there and he was like, hey, take this with you. Best offense, my backside. Oh, there it is right there. Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions, and I'm saying Ben Johnson and the Detroit Lions because of this, put up 537 yards of offense, 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 4 touchdowns. Now, you also had 4 turnovers to go along with that. Jared Goff looking woefully terrible in that game. In just absurd moments at times on some of those turnovers. Put up 31 points in a 4 turnover game and lost the game. Why'd you lose the game? Well, Jared Goff turned the football over 4 times. Caleb Williams doesn't turn the football over that much. After watching that game versus Jaden Daniels, he was so much my number 1 guy. I walked out of that game just going, please, it would be a dream for the Chicago Bears to be able to come away with that guy. It would be a dream for the Chicago Bears to get me the guy that was able to put up. You want to know why? Because he understood the assignment. He understood the assignment. Our defense is dead. We're going up against a quarterback that will kill us if we give him the opportunity to. I do not care that he's a rookie. This young man can play. He can sling the pill. He can run the football. He can make things difficult for us. We have 18 dudes dead on the other side. Our entire starting unit, dead. The guys after them that we deemed good enough to go into the game, if those guys got beat up, dead. We're on 3rd stringers at most positions. We have to go out there and put up points. We have to score. We have to move the football. 500 yards of offense. 500 plus. And I keep seeing this. Your boy Bub, shout out to you. Phenomenal profile picture. Not the guy who called a wide receiver throw on a game-deciding drive. If you lose a game being who you've been the entire season, I can live with that. This year, to me, was less unacceptable than how they lost last year's game. Because and it's not to listen, they were supposed to go further. They were supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. They get their hearts broken. Last year, you lost not being you. You lost not going for it on fourth down. You lost not going for it on the 2-point conversion. You lost not being aggressive, not calling these plays. They've called these plays all season. Y'all just wasn't watching. Amon-Ra St. Brown has thrown passes. Penei Sewell has thrown passes. It's been a running joke. That's who they are. Now, maybe he dials it back a little bit when Dan Campbell's not sitting there in the mic going, hey, let's go with something crazy here. But at a certain point in a game like that, you do have to dial up something different because you're trying to find ways to create offenses. They're starting to figure things out during the game. Steve-O said they wasn't calling those in fourth quarters of close games. What you mean, Steve-O? They called one against us. They called a trick play against us in the fourth quarter of a game. It was like what did we lose? By 3. We lost by 3, didn't we? But it's just, to me, I'm okay with you losing a game being you. What I never want to see is a coach go out there and try and change who he is. Right? We saw this last season with the Ravens. Last season with the Ravens, we saw the Ravens lose a game not letting Lamar be Lamar, not letting him use his legs, not letting him get out. This season, they didn't do that. Had an opportunity to take a game to overtime. Didn't work. Mark Andrews got to make a catch, baby. Only hit you in both hands and the numbers as you fell out of bounds. But I lost no steam on Ben Johnson in that game. Now, do I know if he's going to be a good head coach? I don't. But am I willing to take my chances with him? 110% I am. I'd rather take my chances with the biggest swing than not swinging at all. Take a look over in the AFC as well. Phenomenal game to finish the night there. Alluded to it a little bit. All these guys are coaching candidates that the Bears are looking at. Buffalo Bills taking on the Baltimore Ravens. This was a game where it felt like I was going to be talking about little game Lamar. I thought I was coming out of this talking about little game Lamar. I'm not even going to lie. I was fully prepared to come here today and cook Lamar Jackson for the showing that he had in that first game. Lamar turned it on when I needed him to be Lamar. Shout out Papa Doodad. He said, I had a strong feeling that Washington was going to come in and keep up with the Lions because of Daniel's talent, and the Lions defense basically gone. Told y'all. Ravens lose that game 25-27. Lamar outplayed Josh Allen completely. Most of that being in the fourth quarter. Lamar was not great the entire day. You can't say he went 3 for 5 in the first quarter, 1 tutty, 1 interception, 3 for 5 in the second quarter, 63 yards, had 4 carries for 22 yards, 4 for 6 in the third quarter, had 31 yards. But in the fourth quarter, absolutely turned it on. 8 for 9, 100 yards, 1 tutty, put you in a position to win the game. Had you one set of hands away from going to overtime, and how he had warmed up, I think you could have won that overtime. That's a tough loss. That was a tough blow. I thought that he did as much as he could to finish that game in the biggest moment of that game. And it didn't come down to it. Now, some early mistakes. The interception, I don't know what Lamar saw there. Absolutely, basically gift wrapped it to the safety there. There was some questionable things that happened. The fumbles all day were terrible. And I think that's the worst part of this, right? When you look at Mark Andrews, everybody's going to think about that drop. But I think about that. I think it was 2 drives before where Lamar hits Mark Andrews over the middle. Hits Mark Jackson is nuts. Hits Mark Andrews over the middle. Mark Andrews has an opportunity to move the football down the field, gets tackled, ball punched out. That was the drive where Lamar started clicking. And if that drive ends in points, even a field goal, we're having a completely different conversation. That was the drive where I started going, oh, okay, Lamar's awake now. Very rarely are you going to lose the turnover battle and win the game. That's only the Chicago Bears that find ways to let teams win games where they dominate them in the turnover battle. This was a real case of Mark Andrews. You got to be better. I know everybody wants to feel bad for him. And listen, I'll say this. Mark Andrews is a completely efficient tight end. Not going to tell you he isn't. I think he's only had 4 drop passes this season. 2 of them he had in this game. Lamar should rely on Mark Andrews and should continue to rely on Mark Andrews moving forward. He was targeted 7 times. He got 5 receptions. He's a sure-handed tight end that can go out there and play. But we got to call it for what it is. You win this game if Mark Andrews doesn't drop the football. I understand who you are, but you were not that guy in this moment. I understand who you can be, but you were not that guy in this moment. I'm not sitting here and I'm telling you he should be shipped off into the sun, traded away, move on from him. No, Mark Andrews can ball. He's 29 years old. He's one of the top tight ends in the NFL. I'm not telling you to send Mark Andrews anywhere. What I am saying is he wasn't that guy in this moment. And what I keep saying is, oh, man, you hate to see that. Oh, you got to be better. But I just feel bad that happened to you. Well, he could have stopped it from happening to him. Like, it's sports at the end of the day. Nobody's life depends on this unless you're in a little deep on a loan shark. It's okay to call guys out when they screwed up. Mark Andrews, you screwed up. He knows it. Muggs is sitting there trying to build him up. No, man, it's not on you. It's on everybody as a team. It is on everybody as a team. But in that moment, you had that moment. You had that opportunity and you screwed up. It's okay. Bad game for Mark Andrews. There's one catch over the middle. A catch over the middle. Mark Andrews runs directly into a defender. If he turns upfield, like full Cole Kmet action, if he turns upfield, I don't know if it ends up being a touchdown. Maybe he gets run down. but there's a lot of open grass that way, and he didn't run that way. He kind of cold committed it. Let me dive directly into this guy that's in front of me. So, yes, I do believe Mark Andrews, he'll bounce back. He'll come back better next year. He'll probably be one of the top 5 tight ends in the NFL next season. I think all of these things will play out. I also think it's okay to say, Mark Andrews, that wasn't your day. You had a bad day, and you helped cost your team this game. We want to talk about Lamar's turnovers early, 2 turnovers in the first quarter, I believe, of the game with the fumble and the interception. Yeah, that plays a part into it. But when he needed to show up, he showed up. And I don't think this is anything Mark Andrews wouldn't say. On the flip side of this, though, Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. Oh, boy, here we go to the Super Bowl. Will this be the time that the Buffalo Bills finally get through the Kansas City Chiefs? And I'll tell you what. If Josh Allen plays like he played in that game, absolutely not. You better come a heck of a lot better. You better play a heck of a lot better. You better wake up. You have a day like that versus that gauntlet over there on the other side. You better wake up. Because I don't know if you saw the Chiefs defense this weekend, but they're up. They're awake. CJ Stroud died. The Chiefs care again. I love that everyone always gets so lulled to sleep every single year with this Chiefs team. Oh, well, you know, they weren't really going at it. I didn't think that they're an older team. They're just trying to get to the playoffs, wake up and go. And you don't want to know what's scary? They have the talent on this team to do that. That doesn't usually work in the NFL. That's an NBA thing. That's an MLB thing. You usually can't coast through a season, get to the last few games of the season and go, we gonna start playing for real? All right, let's play for real. Let's do it. Let's ball. Have it. We ball. That defense woke up and absolutely eviscerated CJ Stroud. There was nowhere that he could turn that he was going to have a good day. 8 sacks? I thought CJ Stroud was Caleb Williams back there. Everywhere he looked, there was a new defender looking to take his head off. Who had George Karlaftis on the sack leader for the day? Who had that on the board? 3 sacks from George Karlaftis. Chris Jones got a sack in there. Tershawn Horton had a sack in there. Like, you gonna survive that? Now, Josh Allen, big boy, very different. Not to say CJ Stroud's not a big boy, but that's difference in size. Josh Allen can take those shots. He can take those hits. He can move down the field. He can run the football. We saw him do that Sunday with a rushing touchdown. How's that matchup going to play out there? I'm excited. We're going to be breaking that game down all week. I guarantee you that because that's going to be something. It's going to be phenomenal to watch. It's going to be phenomenal to watch. Finishing out the weekend, you had Rams and Eagles, and I'm not going to lie to you. If it doesn't start snowing, I have a perfect weekend. if it doesn't start snowing, I have a perfect weekend. The Rams were poised to win that game, but that snow really messed them up. I think that played directly into the Eagles' hands. Saquon Barkley, absolutely beautiful day. 205 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. 26 carries. Jalen Hurts doesn't need to do anything, which seems to be the theme of how people are talking about Jalen Hurts here. Basically, he's just the guy that's along for the ride. 15 for 20 for Jalen Hurts. He also had a rushing touchdown himself, so he contributed though. But man, when I can just step back, turn around, and hand that football off, good grief. And here's what it really played into in this game. What really set this game apart, I think, for the Rams was that you just had a team who couldn't hold on to the football at all in this weather. Turnovers galore in this weather. 3 guys had a fumble. Matt Stafford had a fumble in the pocket, getting through on a wrap-up tackle. Got that one punched out. He had 2 fumbles, actually. Kyron Williams had a fumble as well on a drive that was moving down the field beautifully. On a drive that was moving down the field beautifully. And you couldn't close that one out, man. I thought that Rams team was going to be able to do it. You saw that final drive. I thought there was going to be a little bit more, but Philly's a tough team, man. And listen, what the matchup that Washington has, Philly versus Washington. Oh my God, we're about to see a war in the NFC title game here. Can Washington make the Super Bowl their first year having Jaden Daniels? That'll be insane to see. I love the fact that now this is, I mean, you have to say it. And I get it. We're Bears fans. We don't want to say it, but let's be real. This is arguably the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time. He's got a chance to go play for the Super Bowl. He's balling offensively. Talking about Jaden Daniels here. And now he has to go up against one of the toughest defenses in football, and that may not go his way. If you're a Cowboys fan, you got to be dying today, though, right? If you're a Cowboys fan, you just got to be sick to your stomach. Washington versus Philly to go to the Super Bowl, and you can't get to an NFC title game? That's tough. That's tough. But no, I think this is going to be a great game. I thought this one was a great game. I thought that, listen, Saquon Barkley makes all the difference. I love it for that team. Y'all know I was not big on paying Saquon Barkley this offseason, and people still look at me and go, but Pat, why wouldn't you pay Saquon Barkley? Look at what he's doing. Look at the time in the pocket that Jalen Hurts has. Look at the holes that are being created for Saquon Barkley. Look at how this team is moving down the field in the trenches. Look at the trenches on both sides. I mean, listen, I may be wrong, but it makes a heck of a lot of difference when you got people movers down there like that. I love this Philly team. Dare I say, now, right, my pick for the Super Bowl was the Rams. I think if the Rams got through Philly, they're off to the bowl. They don't get through. Now, I think you're looking at a Philadelphia versus Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl. Run that back. And I think Philly loses again. And I think Philly loses again. You ain't running like that versus that Chiefs defense. It's going to be exciting to see. Oh, yeah, I don't have the Bills winning, by the way. If you were wondering it. Yeah, I don't have the Bills winning. I think the Bills choke again. The Bills are going to be the Bills. Bills are going to be who they are. Josh Allen's going to have a 177-yard game. He's going to have 2 touchdowns, and they're going to lose 21-14. Book it. Book it. Hey, man, if you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love like you always do. We'll be back with more content today. Got to figure out if we're going to do a daily show or a watch party because we do have a national championship game tonight. And might do a little Notre Dame Fighting Irish watch party. We got a little Go Irish in here. Anybody in here for the Irish? Anybody rocking with the Irish? Oh boy, here go Gucci finesse. Nah, Swift had 1,000 yards with us, just like Philly. So imagine what Saquon could do with us. All right, bro. All right, bro. Oh, those big 4 games. Those big 4 games that he puts together every year. Everybody in on Notre Dame, huh? Everybody's in on Notre Dame. Become legendarious rocking with Ohio State. Chicago Guards are rocking with who'd you have, Garza? Where'd you go? Chicago Guards are rocking with Ohio State. Okay. Steve-O said both of them can go to him. Well, somebody's got to win, Steve-O. Somebody's got to win. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Like I said, man, we appreciate you guys for always rocking with us. I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bad Don, one love. Peace.
The best show for Chicago sports. Oh my God!